Let's go ahead and start that. Recording. All right, now we're going to go into Facebook Live. That's going to take a minute to do because our internet's not as fast. I'm glad we have a few minutes.
So where will I find it?
House of Sanjivani.
Yeah, but where will it be?
House of Sanjivani. It'll be in the post, in the stream. Go to House of Sanjivani now. I'll start uploading right now as we speak. Give me 1 minute to do that.
Okay.
What was it called? All right, everybody, we are here. We're going live on Facebook. Thank you for joining us today. We have a great show, so just keep posted. We'll be there up in a few seconds, and start sharing this with all your family, friends, anybody who uses makeup, skincare, lotions, or body care.
Hair dye.
All right, less than a minute. We will be live.
All right. Everybody, thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. Please share this link with everybody and make sure that you will join us for this wonderful episode. It's going to be eye-opening. You're going to learn a lot of things that are in my book, An Inflammation Nation, and a lot of things that have been recently in the news talking about skincare and cosmetics as we're trying to change some laws which need to be done with some of the new members in Congress, hopefully.
All right, here we go.
Can you turn that down?
What?
Welcome to Take Back Your Health. Your hosts are Dr. Sunil Pai and Maureen Sutton, who will explain the shocking truths about healthcare, prescription drugs, food and supplement industries. They will help guide you to take back your power and feel great again. Now, here's Dr. Sunil Pai and Maureen Sutton.
I don't know how to do that.
Welcome everybody. Today is going to be a great show, as always. We're talking about something that's near and dear to everybody because everybody does this every day. We're talking about skincare deception. And we're going to talk about the dangers that might be potentially happening every day to you and your family that you don't know about on things that we take for granted. If you or your family members use any kind of skincare products, such as makeups, lotions, deodorants, body washes, soaps and fragrances, and sunscreens, even feminine hygiene products, then this show is for you because you need to understand what is happening today with your skincare. The average woman uses 16 products, and men use 11 products daily. And the average is over 168 chemicals daily that you're being exposed to. Remember, your skin is your largest organ, right? Some people even say the skin is the second mouth, right? It gobbles up everything, it eats everything, it's absorbing everything, right? So aside of we always talking about food being your medicine, now we have to look at what you put in your skin, what you put in your body, and is that helpful or is that harmful, and why? All right.
Well, you know, everyone seems to think that your skin is like a barrier. It protects you from the outside environment. But in reality, it sucks in everything from the outside environment.
Yeah,
and we need to think about that. What is our skin taking in?
What is your skin taking in, and how does that affect your body, right? And we know that some of these ingredients are harmful, that can cause inflammation, they can disrupt hormones, they can cause allergies, immune dysfunction, neurotoxicity, reproductive problems, fertility problems, and cancer. So the skincare industry made up over $130 billion last year. It's $130 billion spent on cosmetics and skincare. So it's huge. And what comes with that huge profitability is lobbyists. And if you research lobbyists for the chemical companies and cosmetics industries, because they go hand in hand, everybody, and I'll explain why in a second, is that they're one of the largest lobbyist groups in Washington, D.C., because they're looking at how to keep these chemicals in the supply, right? And if you actually look, there was a meme I actually put in on Facebook, and it was talking about, the Cosmetics Act hasn't been passed since like 1938. Nothing has passed since then. And it talks about how many chemicals. So there's about over 1,300. Now I think there's almost 2,000 chemicals that have been banned and restricted by the EU, like the European Union. Okay. And in the United States now, out of the hundreds of chemicals, there's only, I think, less than a handful, like 5 or 10, that have been restricted in the use in the United States.
And instead, they're just creating new chemicals. And from that industry, they need to figure out how to get rid of the waste. And so, putting it in skincare, putting it into foods, putting it into the things that we're ingesting, that's where it goes.
And that's where it goes. And so why so many lobbyists is because the bottom line, as I always say, is follow the money. They are protecting the corporate interests over the safety of the consumer, you and your family, your children, your grandparents, and other people that you love. And today we're going to talk about these dangerous ingredients. Some of them are actually animal parts. Some of them are going to be chemicals, preservatives, fillers, other harmful ingredients that are actually allowed legally, unfortunately, in this country, even though there's studies and toxicity profiles, and other countries will not allow it in their public or population due to these toxicities. So today is going to be a great show. I want everybody to make sure that you listen to this show. And if you know anybody who sells makeup, who sells skincare, who works at skincare products companies or retail outlets, or actually use a lot of products, as we all do. Today it's going to be important because we want to give you the guidance on what you should be doing to help protect yourself, information on how you can find better skincare products, right? How can you evaluate the safety and toxicity of such products? And more importantly, then, is there good skincare companies out there? There actually is. But they don't get the press because, remember, we're talking about profits, and profits over people sometimes stand with these companies and this industry. So you definitely, if you missed this show, you wanted to go back and just tell your friends, they can go back to the archives and listen to it at sanjevani.net, spelled SANJEVANI.net. And for those who want to listen to it or watch the videos, we also have all the archives there as well, or go to voiceamerica.com. and Health and Wellness channel, Take Back Your Health, with Dr. Sunil Pai and Maureen Sutton. You can find the archives there. So, starting
don't
out,
forget about our sponsors, Sunil.
Yeah, and our sponsors. We love our sponsors, which I'll talk about in a second.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about these chemicals, the question is, well, why is there chemicals in skincare products? And one of the things that I'm going to recommend everybody, if you haven't read already, is my book, An Inflammation Nation. Why? Because there's a section in there that just covers the skincare specifically. And I just want to read something from a passage from my book. Is according to CDC and the Environmental Working Group, who we'll talk about soon, is the average person in the United States has over 700, that's 700 non-human chemicals in his or her blood. And newborn babies, cord blood, they just come out, boom, we cut the cord, right? We test the blood coming out of a newborn baby's umbilical cord. There's over 287 chemicals, of which 180 can cause cancer in humans and animals. And of the 700 chemicals that are in the average person's blood, 217 are toxic to the brain and nervous system. 208 cause birth defects or abnormal development in animal tests. All these are from putting cosmetics and skincare on your body. So if we see all these things,
only one aspect of our lives, right? It's a very important aspect, but it's only one thing that we do every day.
One thing that we do every day, and again, women 16 times, men 11 times, and 168 chemicals minimally that are being put onto our bodies daily. All of us, all around the world now, because we've shared, these companies are global, right? You go, the makeup's everywhere, the body sprays are everywhere in every country, in every language. But we have to understand, well, what isn't it? Why are we allowing these chemicals? If they're dangerous, if they're harmful, why would they be allowed? And let me just give one quick, simple example. Is that chemical companies, now we have chemicals. We have to produce chemicals, unfortunately. It's a byproduct of just manufacturing things, okay? So let me just give an example, like a Dow chemical company, I'm not saying them, or like a DuPont type company, okay, something similar to a chemical company. Those are just big companies that people think of. So I'm using them as examples, but not saying that they do this personally for protection and liability issues. But what happens is when they create a product, and there's an offshoot of chemicals. And most of the time that you create lots of chemicals. So for 1 pound of product, you might have 10 pounds of waste product, right? And yeah, most people who took
usually much more than that.
and most people who took a high school chemistry class, you remember, like, you mixed all these things and you threw the rest of it down the sink to make this one little blue color, some kind of experimental smell of some roses or lemons or something, and or fire, and you made all this chemical reagents and we threw the rest down the drain. Well, same thing happens on a larger scale when we buy products, right? Or they manufacture products. So with this waste products of all these chemicals, what has been designed by these laws and loopholes through lobby groups and in members of Congress who have ties to all these chemical companies in their states and in their regions and districts, is what they do is they actually offer incentive for other companies to take the chemicals off of their hands, and they will get a tax credit in return. And the companies that will take these extra chemicals will, let me just give an example. Okay, so a Suave-like company, okay, or there's these Helen Curtis-like type company, that these are master companies that own different brands, like say a Pantene and a Suave, and there's like 10 other brands probably in one master company. So there's large companies, and if you look at each brand, there's just different areas of where they market them.
Right. And we've just recently heard about Johnson & Johnson and their
we'll talk about that
lawsuit.
right?
So those kind of companies.
So there's large. So a lot of people are like, oh, I buy this brand, but it's really this one large company usually that runs most of these products, or a handful of companies. But what happens is, say if you get a shampoo, right? And I remember when I was in college, I used to get a shampoo called Pantene. I didn't know any better. I used to go to the big box store and I'd buy there's a shampoo and a conditioner, 2 little bottles, and it cost a certain price. And then over time, as I went through 4 years of college, I noticed that the bottles got bigger and bigger and bigger, but the price got lower, lower, lower. And it didn't make any sense to me. Like, why am I getting more for less? And it's because the amount of inert, that means non-specific, non-active ingredients, got to be more, meaning there was more of those that were in my shampoo. So for example, if you take an average shampoo right now and you look at the label, it's about like anywhere from 25 to 50 ingredients.
Yeah, and that, there's so many ingredients, and now they're making them smaller and smaller. You can't even read what the ingredients are anymore. I used to think that my eyes were really good, but I can't read them anymore. I've got to get out a magnifying glass and see what the heck is in there. And then even if I do read it, I don't know what they are.
Right. You have to have like a PhD. And even my PhD patients, they still don't know, because it's not a different type of chemistry, right? These are chemicals, some of them that we don't necessarily use in actual practice. These are offshoot of chemicals. So when you see these things with numbers and dashes and codes, it's like, well, what is that? It's not there to help your hair make it smell better, or shampoo, or have it lather up. These are actually just waste products of other companies. So the bottle gets bigger. So when they say active ingredient on a skincare product or toothpaste or a lotion, they might say, okay, here's aloe as an active ingredient, the main ingredient, or something that they're claiming has something to do with a skin benefit, right? Zinc in a sunscreen, for example. But what's the rest of that stuff? What's the other stuff? That's just waste product that they're spreading out. Remember, the answer to pollution is dilution, as the industry says. And so we can now spread it out, and so you can put it on your body, and it's another way to wash away their sins by getting a tax credit, and a chemical company getting the offshoot of not paying the hazard waste fees for disposal. Right,
and
this
then
goes
all
right
the
to your house.
preservatives to preserve the product. So that's a lot of different chemicals. Right.
So there's tons of chemicals, right? So you have to be. I'm just explaining, because a lot of people don't realize, like, they think that they need all these chemicals in their makeup and their shampoo, but actually it's not. And so what we always want to talk about is clean products, clean lifestyle, clean diet. And before we get into the next segment of talking about what those solutions are, where you can go, what we can talk about, we do want to talk about something as our sponsors. We want to thank our sponsor, Glucan 300. Go to purebetaglucan.com to get some of this most clinically effective beta-glucan on the market, which we recommend. I take every day, Marie takes every day, for our immune system health. And also bosmeric.com, BOSMERIC.com, for the natural anti-inflammatory that you'll read about in An Inflammation Nation. So when we come back soon, after the next break, we're going to give some examples, but I just wanted to bring up this concept of lobby groups, money, and where these chemicals are coming from. And in fact, just recently, many people saw in Forbes magazine, Kylie Jenner, one of the youngest women to become a billionaire, on her way to become a billionaire off of cosmetics and skincare. And everybody was like, yay, that's a great thing. She's a woman. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I'm glad. I'm all for entrepreneurship.
Good for her.
Good for her. And she looks good in all the makeup she wears.
Not good for us.
But not good for everybody who follows the millions of Instagram followers that follow her. You have to look at, well, what is in there? What is in the chemicals that they're putting on? And what is the problems that these people who now start using these type of products, of all skincare products, by the way, over time, right? So by the time they're 30 and 40 and 50, what is that long-term ramification going to do? And we also know that, for example, in my book, we talk about this, but, in a woman's lifetime, it's at least a minimum of 5 pounds of lipstick that is ingested. Right. So if I put 5 pounds of chemicals right now on a table in front of you, like say like salt or sugar, right? You say, well, that's a lot of chemicals. And if I were to put that chemicals right now and say, would you eat this? You'd say, I'd die. But you're doing that slowly, right? You're putting it on every day on your lips, and it's absorbing because you're absorbing it in your mouth.
It's not only absorbing, you're actually eating it.
Right. So, women are taking all these products. We're dying to look younger. We're dying to look good, but we shouldn't be dying. We should be thriving and living. So after we come back from this next short commercial break from our sponsors, we're going to get into now options of what we should be doing, how you should be doing it, where you should be looking at your products, and actually how to take back your health.
Awareness. Awareness is everything.
All right, you're clear.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching us here on Facebook Live. I hope this is going to be a show that you'll remember, because skincare products is something that we all use. Myself, Maureen, everybody uses skincare products. But we have to look at, just as much as we were critical in some of our shows on food deception, is the skincare deception, because that's sometimes things that we don't think about. People eat organic, people, do exercise, all this stuff, and they still put stuff on their body that they don't think about is actually having just as much of an impact on their health. So thank you for staying tuned, and please share this with everybody.
Right. In Ayurveda, we always say that if you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin.
Yeah, we're going to mention that in the show because I want that to be recorded. Everybody should know that. And we did talk about the tax credits again. So again, these are people who are making profits over your safety. 700 chemicals in your blood. It's not just heavy metals. Everybody's like, oh, yeah. But we're wondering, why do certain people also have cancer that don't have heavy metals? Why do people have cancer that don't smoke? Why do people have cancer that they don't have the genetic profiles, or even they're eating a healthy anti-inflammatory diet? It's because of the environmental aspect. So we can't forget or understate the importance of cleaning up the environment just as much as cleaning up your diet.
Right. And we can't just say, oh, that's okay, we'll go ahead and we'll use it, and then we'll detox our liver and everything will be just fine. It doesn't work like that.
Don't get me started on the detox today. That's a whole other topic.
I'm not going there today.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do a colonic or a coffee enema and clean out everything. No, you're not. That's just a bunch of hogwash, because what happens is it basically disrupts your microbiome, and that's what we have data now that's suggesting, and also clinical experience that we've seen in hundreds and hundreds of patients who've done that.
And you're overworking your liver and, making it more difficult for it to do what it's supposed to do, detox on its own.
Absolutely. So everybody, we want to give some examples. I'm going to give you ideas of what you can use and how you can use the internet and nonprofit organizations on how you can find your skincare product that you have in your home and actually test it, look at the ingredients, how does it score? That's going to be coming up on the next couple of segments. I'm going to also talk a little bit about some other ingredients that people may not think about in their skincare, which is animal parts.
Oh, yeah.
Who thought that you should be getting vegan makeup now?
Yeah.
Or truly plant-based, right?
All right, coming back.
All right, everybody. Hold on. We have another cool segment coming up. Some more shocking details that even when I did my research on my book, quite shocking.
You are tuned in to Take Back Your Health. To reach our program today, call 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or by email to radio@sanjevani.net. That's radio@sanjevani.net. Now, let's return to Take Back Your Health.
So today we're talking about skincare deception. We were talking about the $130 billion that the consumers spent and the offshoot of chemicals that are produced by chemical companies, sold for tax credits for most other skincare companies to pick up and put in their products as inert ingredients. But there is an ingredient that many people don't know. And for those people who are plant-based, those people who are animal lovers, those people who just say, I don't want to have that on my skin. This is something shocking. I want to read to you. In 2000,
This is really shocking. I was so surprised when I heard this. So stay tuned for this.
All right. So in 2005, the USDA and the FDA amended their draft rule to, quote unquote, permit the use of the entire small intestine for human food. We talked about this in the food episode on food deception.
Right.
If the last 80 uncoiled inches of the colon was removed from the animal. Okay, but what they did is they found studies that showing that like mad cow disease or prions, which we talked about previously, can be found throughout all the parts of the intestine from the stomach all the way down to the cow's colon, raising the question of whether should we use entrails, should it be completely removed. However, it was not just the North American Media Association that has said no, that they wanted to keep cattle insides inside our food supply, but more importantly, listen to this. This is the kicker here. More importantly is what we heard from the Cosmetic, Toiletry, and Fragrance Association. Again, another lobby group, big lobby group. They protested that by banning cosmetics from downer, that's the animals that just are dead because of the way they treat them in the CAFOs and the feedlots and stuff, and dead
They
cows.
call them downer?
Downers. They're downer animals. There's the ones that are just old and sick, or the ones that are just unhealthy, right? And there's so many, right? So they're just downers. Those are the ones that make like hot dogs and stuff like that, or most animal foods. So they protested, the Cosmetic, Toiletry, and Fragrance Association protested that by banning cosmetic downer and dead cattle, as well as, quote unquote, this is a quote from this article I was printing out, brain, skull, eyes, spinal cords, intestines, and tonsils. If we ban those from cosmetic downer and dead cattle, then our nation's supply of cosmetics could be put in jeopardy.
Oh my gosh.
So what they're saying is that if we took that stuff out of our products, it would cause potential collapse of the industry because so much of that is in the products.
Oh, that is just...
Right? They also said that there'd be a shallow of tallow for soaps. Right, and if everybody wants to see an offshoot of that, just look at that Fight Club movie. You'll understand what I'm talking about. That and soap. But the FDA does not recognize that these are it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and that these chemicals are harmful. They can cause endocrine disruptors, hormones, problems, neurotoxins. And so, there's the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology. They had a report in 2013 that there was enough robust evidence linking toxic environmental agents to adverse reproductive and developmental health outcomes, right? So these are not just alternative docs. They're not integrative docs. These are like general OB-GYNs saying, hey, we are seeing this toxic issues. And you have to be worried if you're a female, because especially if you use feminine hygiene products, right? Tampons, douching, all those things. And there's a whole discussion on that that we can have on another show. But one of the things is that these products, like tampons, for example, they are considered a medical device by Congress.
A medical device.
A medical device. And therefore, there's less regulation, and there's no disclosure on what ingredients are in them. So you can put a tampon with hundreds of chemicals that are in that GMO cotton, side of glyphosate, all the other things are going to be in there, but they don't have to list or label it because it's a medical device.
Wow.
Okay, so you would
think that a medical device, they would have stricter regulations.
No, and for those who want to watch
opposite.
a hot documentary that's out on Netflix, it's called Bleeding Edge, talking about medical devices. You'll be shocked and surprised, and that's why anytime some new technology comes out, I always say, just wait a couple of years, because within 12 to 16 months, you'll see something on television saying, if you put this in your body, call this number. Never a good sign. But let's going back to the healthcare products. Again, women are now having more problems, right, with reproductive issues, menstrual cycles, fibroids, painful menses, all sorts of issues. Same thing with men. And we know that what we call endocrine disruptors, that these chemicals affect how we produce and metabolize and excrete hormones. And in fact, one of the funny things is that when we talk about men, because men's a new category, in the last 10 years, there's just been explosion with men care products, right? When I was younger, there was just like, some deodorant, and that was it, maybe some shaving gels and stuff like that. Now there's men's body sprays for the morning, for workout, for the evening. They always show these commercials with young men spraying these products and women kind of all being attracted to them. But the studies showed that by being an endocrine disruptor, it decreases their testosterone levels. It makes them more having fertility problems. So it's almost opposite what the commercial is saying. Like, oh, you got to be hot, you got to be attractive to women, and all these other things, and virile. It's like, no, you're actually sterilizing
You won't be
yourself.
able to perform.
You won't be able to perform.
Sorry.
Maybe it's the new birth control. I don't know. Maybe we're controlling masses through, who knows. But it's a very dangerous thing to think about because, again, there are new products more and more every day. There's so much chemicals. We're inventing categories now, like an AM and a PM body spray for men.
Oh, a different one for the morning and for the evening.
Different one for the morning.
Right,
and
so that you have a particular smell during the day while you're at work, and then in the evening when you go to pick up your girlfriend to take her out on a hot date, you have a different smell. That's interesting.
And these chemicals such as phthalates, PHTALATES, they've been shown they're linked to asthma, low IQ. This is through studies at Columbia University. The NIH has shown linked dioxin to reproductive and developmental issues, as well as increased risk of cancer and heart disease. Other studies have shown us even like correlations to some of these feminine products to increasing BV, bacterial vaginosis, cervical cancer, and even HIV transmission. So, people are trying to think like, oh, I need to be clean or natural. And they're kind of forcing these products. Like, you should be using these every day. It's because we don't know what to do with these. So we're inventing new ways to clean yourself or be. Doesn't mean that we are dirty. It just means that chemicals onto a body doesn't necessarily mean that it's clean. Okay. In fact, we're actually just increasing toxicity.
And you're increasing different kinds of bacteria that are more and more difficult to get rid of and cause disease. And, you were talking about it decreasing testosterone for men, blocking testosterone. For women, I believe it probably does the opposite. It causes us to hold more and more estrogen.
It does cause more, an estrogen dysfunction, in which then women store it. So this and where that's stored is the kind of the adipose tissue. The
and the fat, and so you get on this cycle where you're trying to lose your fat, but all of the things you're taking in is increasing the fat so that it can hold the estrogen.
Right. And you want to make sure that, people look at, what we want to look at and talk about is how do you actually fix your skin problems? The biggest feeder to the skin is the foods that you eat. So before we get into here's a website you can go to look at natural products, for example, and how you can score your products, is that you want to be moving towards a plant-based diet. For those people who have acne, cystic acne, lichen sclerosis, any kind of skin problem, cirrhosis, eczema, you name the skin problem, most of the skin problems, if not all skin problems, are exacerbated or initiated by triggers of inflammation internally from what we're eating from the gut, microbiome dysfunction, pro-inflammatory foods. So if you have any of those problems, you want to be eating and moving towards a plant-based diet. We talked about dairy and acne increasing 300% and all the hormones and chemicals earlier in previous episodes. What you want to do is that if you have a skin problem, you got to clean your inside first with food and nutrition to feed the skin. And
that's why they say beauty is an inside job. It comes from the inside out. You reflect what's happening inside of your body.
Right. Exactly. So we have a lot to talk about. I would want to say is that we have to. I'm calling out people to hold accountable some of these celebrities, and why is because I'm not against people making lots of money, but now there's a new generation of people that make billions overnight. And social media is important. It makes a lot of money, but we have to be, is it a public harm or a public benefit? And it seems like the rich keep getting richer and everybody else keeps getting sicker and not as healthy as they should be. It's one thing for a celebrity to promote, but I think they should understand what is their social obligation, I would say, to look at providing the influence, because we are influencers, right? Influencers are influencing people.
Right.
We have to. So it's not just the chemical company to blame; it's the person who's endorsing the use of the chemical company and just private labeling it or selling it down the line. I think we should be looking at more responsible products, and I think it's the the legal responsibility shall be coming upon many companies. And we know there was recently with the Johnson & Johnson, the talc exposure. I forget how many millions of dollars, maybe $100 million or so or more, was allocated for the women who were using talcum powder, and they ended up getting ovarian cancer. Right. And so how much talcum powder is used in most skincare products and feminine products and deodorant products, right? And we put it as baby powder, right, on babies just when they come out. Again, I can take
that's a good example of applying something to the skin on the outside and having it go into your system. So if you get ovarian cancer from applying powder to the outside of your skin, that is a really good example of how we're sponges taking it in.
Yeah, and so you want to be looking at, when you use skincare products, least amount of ingredients as possible. As many things can be organic and natural. If you can't pronounce it, if you can't look it up, if you have trouble typing it up on Google, or your spell check is coming out and it doesn't know what it is, you probably shouldn't be putting it on your body.
And now that you know, you might want to be thinking about vegan products.
Yeah, vegan products,
Vegan
particularly since the
skincare
prions,
products.
now we have downer animals and intestines and eyeballs and all sorts of gross things there.
Ugh.
And on top of the chemicals, right, that cause potential toxicities that we will talk about coming up after the short break. So after the short break, listen to our sponsors. Thank them very much for sponsoring our show. Again, 5-Vita for the CBD products that we like to use. Pure Beta Glucan, Glucan 300, and Bosmeric. Thank them all for allowing us to have this show, to have this open discussion on how you can take back your health. We'll be back after the short break from our sponsors.
You're clear?
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching Facebook. I hope you can tag some of your friends. I hope you can bring in some new people. We want to bring in new listeners every week. And next week, we're going to be having an episode which was canceled due to technical difficulties, but we'll be talking about where do you get your protein from with Dr. Milton Mills from What the Health, the movie that many people have seen on Netflix.
That's next week.
That's next week. And then after that, in about 2 weeks, we'll have Dr. Clapper, which he's world famous. Everybody knows.
Exciting.
And he talks about fasting, and we'll talk about a lot of cool things, heart disease, diabetes, someone who's doing it, many, many more decades than I have. And we have just amazing results with what we've been doing for 2 decades. Can you imagine someone who's done it twice as long? It's going to be great because we really want to listen. People have to listen to it and over. It's something that you have to learn. It's a lifestyle change that we're talking about. Don't think overnight you can just do something instantly. Well, usually you'll fail at that. We're talking about how do we get you and your family healthy by taking small steps. That's why every episode we're trying to bring in new concepts, new interviewees, and new topics that will help you and your family take back your health and actually just become more empowered and not disempowered and a victim or a patient of this management system of diseases.
Right. And while we are revealing some of these shocking things, we're also trying to give you some alternatives that you can go and seek out for yourself so that it's not all bad news. There is some good news out there too. There are alternatives. And we want to make sure that you have those possibilities in front of you. So keep listening.
All right, coming back.
Those things.
It's America, health and wellness.
You are tuned in to Take Back Your Health. To reach our program today, call 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or by email to radio@sanjevani.net. That's radio@sanjevani.net. Now, let's return to Take Back Your Health.
We're back, and today we've been talking about skincare deception, dying to look younger, both men and women, the chemicals that were being put in, the animal parts that are put in cosmetics and skincare that people don't even know, the inability on some products not even to have the ingredients listed because they're considered medical devices, particularly feminine hygiene products. And we want to just talk shortly before we get into solutions part of the show. We're talking about, well, how expensive is this stuff to actually make it? And why is there so much cosmetics? Aside of the chemicals being dumped that we talked about and the tax credits being given, is that, when it costs, I was doing some research, and Cosmetic formulations, the actual cost per pound, we're talking about per pound, is anywhere from 10 cents to
Wow.
$3 per pound. Per pound. That's a large amount. It's a large weight as a pound is a lot of product there. So when you think of like a lipstick and skincare products, most lipsticks, the actual base cost with everything included, meaning packaging and the cap and the the little tags and there's a lot of money that goes into that, but it's $2.50 or less is usual on average lipstick, and the cheaper the brand, sometimes the cheaper it is because they're selling it at a lower price, but it doesn't cost more. So when people buy really expensive lipstick, say from a celebrity endorsement, or there's now retail outlets that you go in Albuquerque, we have tons of these retail stores. They're just cosmetic retail stores, and they carry all the different brands and lines, and they're nicely displayed and have people there. You can try all those things. But you have to understand, because when they buy it in bulk, then that that maybe $1 per pound or 50 cents per pound or 10 cents per pound actually gets even cheaper. So the margin is even higher, yet they're not giving you cheaper product. They're still selling you a $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, sometimes $100 skincare product, sometimes a $200 skincare product, depending on who's endorsing the product. So remember, more
So the
expensive.
profits are huge, and a lot of those profits go into the marketing of that product as well.
Right. A lot of times formulations come out, there's some parts where the Italians will make color ideas and suggestions. The Koreans and Japanese can make chemistry formulations, and then we do like packaging design. So there's, there's a little bit of there's a lot of R&D that goes into designing just the lipstick in terms of what's kind of hot and cool, how to hold it, how to carry it, the packaging aspect. But the chemicals inside of it is just as toxic as it's ever been. In fact, even more now with animal parts and chemicals that we don't necessarily need. So I just wanted to touch.
Red lipstick has a lot of lead in it.
A lot of lead. And again, 5 pounds over your lifetime. So people say, well, where am I getting this from? From your foods, yes, but also from your cosmetics and your body care. So you have to be very, very careful when people start using these things indiscriminately. Again, shampoo, conditioner, right? People are using toothpaste, deodorant, body washes. Even what you should absolutely avoid is antibacterial products. A lot of people use, there's an ingredient called triclosan that's been banned in almost every other country except for the United States. It has been shown in studies to be a potential cancer-causing agent when combined with water. So what do we put this in? Our antibacterial soaps and shampoos and body washes.
And toothpaste. It's in your toothpaste.
And what it does is it disrupts the microbiome both on your skin. You actually have probiotics on your skin. So when people sterilize themselves, so you can go to the hospital, you have to wash your hands 100 times. Thankfully, they shouldn't. Hopefully they still do. But when we use all these kind of, these chemical sanitizers, you see why doctors and nurses always have rough skin is because we're also stripping the healthy bacteria, right? And so a lot of people, use these like sprays, and you can see these parents with their kids before they come after school, they're wiping them down with all these things. But that actually causes more problems. Again, we're disrupting the healthy bacteria. Doesn't mean to be dirty. Doesn't mean you don't wash your hands, but even simply washing your hands for about 15 to 30 seconds, I do 30 seconds or more, but it has been shown to be equivalent in reducing the bacteria as using any of these bacterial soaps. So it's just a time issue. So people are like, well, but I want to use a pump spray. I can just rub it in 5 seconds. It's like, why don't you just take 30 seconds, wash your hands, and avoid the chemical toxicities? Right now.
So maybe we can talk a little bit about, some places that people can find good products to replace their products that are killing them, basically.
So solution to all this, one of our favorite websites that I use, it's in my book, and we always recommend to all our patients here at House of San Giovanni in Albuquerque when people come visit, is the Environmental Working Group, EWG.org. It's a nonprofit. I would donate every year. Recommend everybody just to write a check every year, just a little, maybe a little bit amount, $25, $50. Well worth it. Why? Because it gives you the information for free. There's a section of their platform called Skin Deep. You can get the app now on the on your smartphone, and it will cover about 80,000 ingredients or products in the market. Skincare, fragrances for men and women, even African American women. Remember, there's a whole different category of products that we don't. If you're not African American, you might not even know they exist. Right? If you're not of certain ethnicities, you may not even know what do people use to straighten their hair. If I don't have that problem, or this other skin type, or that
hold
type
it
of skin
in
type.
place, or
Fragrances and nail polishes and all these other things. But Environmental Working Group, EWG.org, go to Skin Deep, and you can type in the product. So you can type in, Kylie Jenner, if you want. You can type in, Revlon, Maybelline.
Oh, her products will be there.
All these people's products will be there, and you'll see it'll score it, right? So there's going to be a green zone, a yellow zone, and a red zone. And you really want to be in the green. And each ingredient is going to be scored by safety in terms of allergies, immunology, reproductive toxicities, cancer-providing issues in studies in animals and humans, irritations, and it gives an overall hazard score for that chemical. And then each of the ingredients is then added together, and like an Olympic panel, it'll give an overall score. Right? So you can have a bunch of 1s and 2s, and you can have a 9, and your score might go up to a 7.
Right.
So you want to be using products that are in the green as much as the yellow and as much as in the green, and you try to avoid the red. Some chemicals like fragrances, which are common in a lot of products, even some natural products, all the ingredients will be totally safe except for the fragrance, which can be completely toxic. So you want to be looking at getting as much into the green. Now, how we recommend our patients, first and foremost, is don't just go home and throw away everything. Okay, that's usually not economical, and most people are on a budget. We recommend is that you take a look at the site, get the app, and then when you look at your products, when they run out, your next shampoo, your next deodorant, your next toothpaste, you want to look at something that's healthier, something on the green side. And then you slowly change the environment of your home, which makes you and your family over time healthier.
Which you'll want to do with your cleaning products also. But I noticed a lot that women constantly put nail polish on their fingernails and their toenails, and often they even take their small children to go and have mani-pedi with them, as a day out. And I think especially with small children, women should be looking at what kind of chemicals are in those nail polishes that they're putting on themselves and their small children.
Yeah, we were recently in Mexico, and I noticed that it's even more so than here in the United States. I mean, and it's a sense of pride, it's a sense of beauty, right? So I can't blame everybody who want to look better, feel better, and it's
femininity,
femininity, and sometimes also the simple things that make people feel good, right? So why not, right? So they paint their nails and they're all fancy and everything, their toes and their fingers. But almost every person, whether it was on the street or in a fancy shop, everybody had their nails done just spectacularly. But they have to think of what is that doing to them over their lifetime? Especially as we're starting younger and younger, right? We play makeup when we're in kids, and then we grow up into adults and we buy makeup, and then we give gifts as makeup for people. And so we have to look at what's this total body accumulation of these potential toxins that we start seeing.
Right. With nail polish, it goes straight into the blood in the nail bed there. So it's like a direct hit.
Yeah. So when you go to ewg.org, and I recommend right now, I mean, and this should be like a homework assignment. I'm recommending everybody around the world just go to ewg.org and look at your shampoo today, look at your toothpaste, and look at this and look at that, look at your body lotions, and just type it in. If it's not there, then sometimes you can type in an ingredient and then say, is my ingredient? Because not all the products, remember, there's so many products that are coming out every year, every day, because they come out with the brand, here's the new scent, and then they run out of that chemical because there was an offshoot and they invent another one. So sometimes you may not see it all the time, but most general products that you went to a big box store, you will find it, and that's how you can really look at the scoring. And you want to be in the green as much as possible. Now, if you buy a product and you see it's in the 7s or 8s or 9s or 10s, then you have to say, well, is that person really selling me something, even though they say you can sleep in it, maybe when you're dead? You can bite it, you can taste it, it's delicious. No, it's not nutrition at all, and it's not healthy. And so I would definitely want to be supporting companies, and we'll talk soon in the next segment on a few companies that we like to recommend that we've used personally, and also just again, whatever's in your local area, try to type it into the website, and you can find out what would be helpful and not harmful.
There's another resource that I'd like to mention. It's a small book that you could carry around in your purse called Dying to Look Good. The book classifies over 1,200 cosmetic ingredients according to their safety, whether they cause allergic reactions, whether they've been reviewed by the Cosmetic Ingredient Review Panel, and if they're approved or recognized as safe by the FDA. It also lists 750 cosmetic and personal care products that have been evaluated as safe. So a good place to look for some
That's a
good
great,
alternative.
yeah, because somebody say, I just want to pick up something and what are the brands already rather than researching mine. That would be a perfect resource for people to have.
Okay,
What
so
was the
it's
name?
something that
What was the name
we
of it
like to
again?
carry.
Can you repeat it again for the listeners?
Dying to Look Good is the title of it.
All right. Not like our show, Dying to Look Young. so, anyways, as we were talking about, EWG. Now, the interesting thing is when you get into some of these products, you'll see is that it's not always a brand that is bad. It's really the ingredients in the product. So sometimes, you go to the store, you buy a shampoo, conditioner, they'll be together. Sometimes they're wrapped together. Sometimes they give you like a 10% discount if you buy the pack together. But you have to shop individually sometimes. Sometimes it's like your shampoo's okay, but your conditioner is toxic, and don't save 10% and get the toxic thing. Say, I got to buy it separately. And sometimes you have to buy separately within the brand just due to the fragrance or color or chemical or preservative. Remember, if your grandmother can pronounce it, or if you can't pronounce it, if I can't pronounce it, then we shouldn't be putting it in our body at all. And so again, if it has too many dashes, too many numbers, if it sounds like a chemistry experiment or a chemical name that you can't really pronounce and there's a lot of hyphens and dashes, then probably not good for you.
A chemical cocktail, I would say. In Ayurveda, we always say that if you cannot eat it, don't put it on your skin. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to come in a form that you can eat, but if the individual ingredients are things that you would not be eating, don't put it on your skin.
Yeah, don't put it on your skin, people. That's not a good thing to do. So again, environmentalworkinggroup.org, and take a look at their site, because that's something that we will talk about when we talk about foods. We always talk about the dirty dozen, about the top worst heavily sprayed foods, but now they're also going to talk about the 84,000 products that you can review online in an app instantly and make the decision of paying the dollar that's going to help you, not harm you. Don't be misled. Be an active consumer. Voice your voice with your dollar on how you spend, and hopefully you'll be spending in the right direction. After we come back, we'll have some, from the short commercial break, we will then have some more solutions and ideas of brands that you can use safely in your home.
Clear?
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening so far on Facebook. Again, please share.
Take a break. I'll be right back.
Yeah, and get more likes. We are doing our best here at our show to reach out. But if you know people, if you even have people that you think would be great to interview, and you have the ability to contact them, say a celebrity, say a sports star, anybody that is, or a scientist, or a famous physician or doctor, or anybody has just an amazing story, please have them contact us at radio, RADIO, at Sanjevani, spelled SANJEVANI.net. We'll see if we can get them on as a guest in a future show. We're always looking for new people. And again, next week, we're going to be talking with Dr. Milton Mills on how to get your protein, which is going to be a very, very popular show, because it's a very, very controversial subject, which is probably the most number one question that we get asked daily by our patients, and that you'll see on the internet. I'm hoping that you enjoyed today's show, because we wanted to talk a little bit about where chemicals come from and that are in your products, why they're there, because they make money, who's providing it, chemical industries and lobby groups that allow it, and then who's profiting, the chemical companies, and then eventually the endorsers of celebrities and other people who are, unfortunately, willingly or not willingly, or knowingly or unknowingly. But now that we have this information, and most people know this information, and most people are trying to do better, there is celebrities that are doing better healthcare products, and there is, spokespeople who are trying to do better healthcare products, then everybody should be moving in that direction, because it doesn't take more than one tweet to actually change an industry, change regulation, change it, and so they can make money, but also by doing so.
You are tuned in to Take Back Your Health. To reach our program today, call 1-866-472-5792. That's 1-866-472-5792. Or by email to radio@sanjevani.net. That's radio@sanjevani.net. Now, let's return to Take Back Your Health.
So we've been talking about skincare deception. We've talked about the billions of dollars that are spent every year, 130 billion, 168 chemicals that are put on our body every day, men 11 products, women 16 products, over 700 non-human chemicals that are in our body, over almost 300 in a newborn baby's cord blood. So we have to really take this seriously. Like, this is one of the potential aspects of why we see increasing risks of chronic disease, inflammation, immune dysfunction, and cancer, right?
Mhm.
It's not the only cause, but when we talk about diet, lifestyle, environment, in my book, An Inflammation Nation, we cover all of these sections, but this is an important section because it's something that a lot of times, we were just recently in a wonderful vacation in Tulum, Mexico, beautiful place. I recommend everybody to go. And it was just ironic because sometimes you would see people who are vegan, organic, doing yoga, all these wonderful things in an eco resort, all green, no plastic, everything recyclable, compostable, and smoking or putting some other chemical, which I know that, they weren't looking at the label. And we sometimes say, I'm doing all this stuff, but that little extra 10% could be also the 10% that actually pulls the trigger at the end of the day that causes more harm than good. So never forget, when you put your body exposure to these types of chemicals, that those things should be looked at just as much as we want to look at your food.
Yeah, it's something that has always been really important to me ever since, I was a teenager and started to put on makeup. I didn't really like to wear makeup much. It was very uncomfortable for me. It always made me feel like I was being suffocated. So I never really enjoyed wearing it. And people tell me all the time, "Oh, Maureen, you have beautiful skin. What do you do?" Well, I look very, very carefully at the labels of products that I use. One of the products that I sourced for Sanjevani is called Evan Healy. And I just wanted to read to you their mission statement. This will give you an idea of how wonderful this product is. Radical simplicity. We source our organic, sustainable raw materials directly from the small family growers, distillers, illustrating the connection underlying the statement, field to face. So, like,
Food to
farm to
table, yeah,
table,
farm to
it's
table is
field
like
to
field to face.
face. I love that idea.
I love that idea.
Pure plant-based skincare should be effective, uncomplicated, and intuitive. No need to use cutting-edge science, which we're all like duped into thinking, oh, it's cutting-edge science. Greenwashed or fake natural ingredients. When natural plant extracts, hand-harvested, steam-distilled hydrosols, plant oils, and luscious fair trade seed and nut butters are available. That's the kind of skincare I want to use. It's all handmade, sourced from the wild, from small family farms, and support women's co-ops around the globe. They're socially conscious, they're environmentally responsible, and all of their staff hail from the neighborhood community, and they represent generations of families. So that's the kind of skincare I want to use. And one of the things that I do use on my face, I just wanted to give you an example. The Blue Chamomile Day Moisturizer that I use. Here's some of the ingredients: water, lavender, flower water, aloe vera, sunflower seed oil, jojoba. There are some things I don't really know exactly what they are, but it's cedarol olivate, which I know comes from olive oil, shea butter. Anyway, the ingredients are long, but they're almost all all of them are flowers or some kind of plant-based. You can look up evanhealy.com and you can see their ingredients. They're totally transparent. You can buy them from Sanjevani. They're wonderful. The other thing that I do is for my makeup, rather than using a product, I create my own. So for my eyeliner, for example, and I can use it on my eyelashes too, it's actually a medicine. It's an Ayurvedic product that I create from ghee called kohl. And once I create this, then I can use it, put it on my eyes, and I know that it's actually doing good things for my skin. My eyelashes and eyelids often, get very aggravated if I put any kind of chemicals on them. So I make sure that what I'm putting on my skin is going to be good for it.
Yeah, because many of the things that people are putting now that they get from dermatologists, they get all these medical eyelash growers. They've now been shown to cause immunosuppression and immunotoxicity issues. This whole concept of everybody wants to have, these eyelashes that are bigger than camels. I don't know what, or putting in
Oh my
fake
gosh.
eyelashes and then glue, this glue stuff and all. You have to understand, someone's just creating this industry just for you to buy products, people. But remember, beauty
So
is
they can get rid of the chemicals.
exactly, and someone gets a tax credit and someone gets an endorsement. That's all it is, right? So the money goes around in the circle, but the circle is always not in our circles; it's someone else's circles. But when we get sick, so for example, I use a shea butter, a naturally organic. It's just it's about 32 ounces, and it comes at the health store. It's from Africa. It's fair trade, and it costs about like $12. It's for most people that's a lot of money. $12 for 32 ounces. However, it's not a $2 or $1 store lotion, but what does one cancer diagnosis cost? We talked about that. What does one illness cost? What does one doctor's copay and doctor's visit cost? What is one day sick being costing you? So you have to look at we're looking at food as medicine, and also the skincare has to be supportive in our body to be preventative and not intervening and saying, oh my God, I didn't know I was taking this and now I'm sick because I got a bit, I got a discount because I got a 2-for-1 pack, or I went to the local makeup store and the girl said it was all natural. She said it's safe. I'm like, well, who are they? So again, ewg.org is a great place to take a look at your products. Even Healy's, one thing that we use a lot of natural products in the store. So I don't want to be endorsing a lot of products because everybody lives in a different place, and some different ethnic minorities might use different types of products. But go to that website, put it in, because that will be shocking. You'll be surprised that some of the things that you bought inexpensively is really good, and some of the things you said, oh, but they told me and I read in the story is not, and vice versa. Remember, more is not better. More expensive is not necessarily always better, but you have to always look at the ingredient that makes the product.
Sunil, do I have time to talk about hair dye?
You have 1 minute.
Is this the end of the program?
End of the program.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so just very quickly, I was reading about hair dye, and women have a really difficult time trying to decide when to stop using dye on their hair. And so I looked up organic hair dye, and basically organic hair dye doesn't exist. Because the things that go in to color your hair are all going to be toxic. So the hair color formulas include ammonia, something called resorcinol. I used to use something that I thought was very natural, but it still had the resorcinol in it. Parabens, phtalates. So I was like, oh my gosh, there's got to be some kind of a brand that is going to be 100% natural. And I did find something called earth dye, and it's 100% hypoallergenic and plant-based, zero chemicals.
Can you repeat
Zero.
that again?
It's called earth dye.
All right.
So they also make it for men. 56% of their customers are men. They use it for their beards. Apparently, it's so safe. It's vegan. It's so safe that you can use it on your eyebrows. You can use it in personal places without having any kind of allergic reaction or any problems with it. So, just you have to have a look. You've got to be discerning and try to find something that, if you must dye your hair, look for something that is going to have zero chemicals in it. And there are things besides henna.
All right. So everybody, wraps up our show. We hope you enjoyed the Skincare Deception. Please like us on Facebook. Please go to sangevity.net, sign up for our newsletter, and support our sponsors again at purebetaglucan.com and bossmeric.com. And we will see you next week. We're talking about where do you get your protein source. Thanks again, ewg.org, for your cosmetics. And be safe, be healthy, and remember to take back your health.
Thank you so much for listening.
All right, guys, you're clear. Great job.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, here we're on Facebook Live. I know that time goes by fast. So, Maureen, let's spend a little bit more time and talk about hair dye, because a lot of people will be able to watch this on the archives. And again, everybody dyes their hair, and we do know one thing. When we were down in Mexico, and also same thing here in the United States, is there's this issue with men and women where when we get older, men get older, and we have gray hair, right? It's kind of a double standard because we say it's more distinguished, right? Right?
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
you know, they have the
The
gray, and
silver
it's
fox and
silver
all of that.
fox, and
Mhm.
and we think
Yeah.
of like people have really distinguished and this distinguished look, presidential looks, or actors and all have this gray look hair. But when it comes to women, it's like you get one little gray, and it's like, oh my God, you got to dye it. Or you got to pull it out or something. And you're right. So every time I drive by, there's all these salons and there's hairstyles, and and I got a lot of patients, and they go weekly or every couple of weeks. They get their hair done, right? And you have to be wondering, like, what is the chemicals that they're putting on? And so a lot of people, like, we used to look at natural. We'd go to the store, and Maureen and I'd be reading. She was like, "Oh, I want to dye my hair." Okay, and there's all these natural products, but even now, again, it's not always 100%. There is a few that are available, like she mentioned, Earth Dye. But you really want to look at that, because don't just go off the label. So you want to be using the websites, ewg.org. You want to sometimes, if you can't find the product, look up the specific ingredient. It is your responsibility. Don't believe anything you see on a label. It's your responsibility as a consumer, unfortunately, in the United States. One of the things that I didn't get to talk about on the show, but in my book and all, is that with all these banned ingredients, there's over 1,300 or more. I think now there's 2,000, as I mentioned earlier in the show. 2,000 ingredients are banned in the EU, for example. There's only a handful that have been banned here. So all these thousands of chemicals that the rest of the world says, hey, this is toxic for our women, our children, and our babies, and our grandparents, and our men and women. We want to allow it. We allow it here, right? Because money wins, right? Lobbyists win, and corporate sponsors win everything when it comes to products. However, we have to look at, how do we change that? And how do we do that is by buying certain ingredients. Like, changing the terrain is not just buying more for less, or going to the big box store and buying a discount online. Is looking at, who do we support? Can we support the companies, or even some of the celebrities, or some of the people who have created healthcare lines or product lines that are cleaner, and shifting that and saying, hey, go to the store that you buy a product and say, can you carry this for me? Because I have to go to this other store to go buy this, or I have to go buy it online. And I prefer to support local as well. So you want to be like involved with it, because that's how the change comes, is from people just buying. And all it takes is a few celebrities. All it takes is a few famous people say, you know what, we really want to change it. And I know there's a couple of who've made a couple of $1 billion healthcare product companies that were just looking at trying to make it cleaner. But even when you go see a doctor, for example, pediatrician, you have to really, or a dermatologist. I mean, I get patients all the time. Oh, here's my cream my dermatologist recommended for my dry skin. I go, have you ever?
That's always the worst stuff.
It's the worst stuff. And as a physician, we weren't really trained, right? So reps would come in, they drop off these products. Okay, here's a baby lotion, here's a baby this, is a baby that, and so good for your baby, soft and magic and all this other stuff. And we would think it was fine because it was given in a pediatrician's office. Why would it be harmful? And then you just go to the website, you type up all these things. It's like, what? How is that? But it sounds good. The bottle's all soft and pink, and we didn't even talk about pink washing, did we?
No, we didn't. And we didn't talk about the fact that women's products are more expensive than men's. And that's why when you go to the regular stores, all the women's products are in one aisle and the men's are somewhere else, so that you can't compare the two. All of women's products, everything, is more expensive than men's products.
Yeah, we call it pink washing.
Pink washing.
So what it is, they've done studies where it's about 10 to 15%, sometimes 20% more for the same product. So, Maureen and I, we go get our shaving blades at the pharmacy store. So we go in, I go to my men's aisle. She goes to the women's aisle. Same blade, same company, right? Same brand. It's just one's in the blue package for men, one's in the pink package. One says, I'm a turbo, and she's a Venus or whatever, some flower or a planet or something like this, right? And same blades, same number of blades, all this stuff. And why is it more expensive? Because we don't see that, right? Because men shop differently than women, and women, since they buy more products, are like, well, it's like they're getting taxed even more, not even knowing it. So, you might want to save some money. It's just like, so even same thing, shaving creams, all these things are the same lotions. Sometimes just it's a men's kind of section and a women's section, or a style of a label. Sometimes it's the same exact product, just the color of the label is different. It's got some sport thing for men and some beautiful thing for women. Same exact product, and it's just more expensive. And when you start seeing the research, it's like, wow, man, women get paid less on the dollar. Now they're paying more.
Exactly.
I'm like, if there's not a revolution, there should be. Because if I was a woman, I'd be so upset and angry. I don't know what to do with myself because everybody's getting screwed. But unfortunately, then we have to look at then even certain minorities even more so. Right, so they're
Yeah,
getting paid less. They get
absolutely.
worse product. The product probably have more chemicals, probably less regulated because it's going to those areas in the economy that people are not even looking at. They get worse healthcare, and then they have probably more chemicals in the product. Why? Because it's a cheaper product. So again, less regulation, more chemicals. Unfortunate what people have to go through, but again, you need to take the time to investigate who is selling you the product and what's in there, because
And
we're not
here's a couple more things that I wanted to add. When you're looking for a product, aside from just the ingredients, you want to make sure that you're getting a cruelty-free brand. Usually it has one of those little leaping bunnies on it. And so it's cruelty-free. It's not tested on animals. Please, please save our animals. Pick formulas that come in eco-friendly packaging, so that it's good for the environment. So those are very important things to look for as well. And usually, if it has those things, good packaging and the leaping bunny on it, then usually the ingredients are going to be better.
Yeah, cruelty-free is important because people don't realize that we still do these horrible, horrible testing on animals. And it's not just a PETA picture or something like that. It's like, no, they take thousands of bunnies every year and they put eye drops and lotions and potions and everything that comes out on the market. It's like, well, you shouldn't put it in your eyes to begin with. It's just a very simple thing to put on the bottle. Avoid eye contact. Done.
Right.
Right,
Why
but
don't
why
they
do they
need
still
to
do it?
test
Because
it?
companies make money, universities make money, labs make, and everybody makes money on this. Well, we need to show that we've done a study and all this stuff. Now, it doesn't mean so they do these studies. Doesn't mean it's safe. It just means that that once the animal's tortured, unfortunately, and then they send it to slaughter and they destroy the animal, probably again comes back into the food supply. Is you have to look at um, all they do is they'll put the same disclaimer: avoid in eyes or rinse out when you get in the eyes. So why do we need to do the testing? Is just because people still make money on testing. Same thing what we do with medical devices and animals studies with drugs. Like we know that dogs and monkeys and chimps will have problems with certain things. Why do we still give it? Because laboratories still make money doing the same test on the same animal for decades, unfortunately.
And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say to you, go ahead, go gray. It looks beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to use hair dye. All of that stuff goes into your skin, into your bloodstream. It causes cancer. Please go natural.
Yeah, and I think we've had patients, fortunately and unfortunately, who, there's a lot of people who have businesses, right? There's a lot of what do you call direct marketing sales. There's a lot of MLM companies, multi-level marketing, and a lot of them are now into skincare, right? So almost every kind of company. So it's not just supplement, let's sell you the monthly shakes or the weight loss drink or protein supplement, but there's most of them now have skincare. Like, oh, here's the thing for wrinkles, here's a thing for this or that, and makeup, and so I understand that people make money. They need to make money. It's an income, but you have to understand who is selling you out and for what reason. Some people get cars, right? Oh, I get a paying car because I sold this, and they go, but that's causing cancer. It's like, but I got a car. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and
but
I do yoga and I take all natural supplements, but I sell the skincare that is going to kill people because I
yeah,
get a car.
yeah. We have, and we got people selling supplements, same thing, same other products, and we have to look at, what. Yes, they're getting some financial benefit, but at whose expense? It's usually the customer's expense. And so, I'm out there to hold people responsible and accountable for some of those things because it's not fair. It's like you can pick a good product. There is good product out there, and I don't mind people doing direct sales or making money in the business of that. But I think at the end of the day, everybody shares in the responsibility of public health because when people get sick, everybody now in America starts paying for it, right? Higher premiums because your insurance plans charge more because more people are sick. Healthcare costs, taxes, everything goes up as the population gets sicker and sicker. So unless you're the celebrity that's endorsing it, you're in trouble because we don't make enough money to pay for our health when we do get sick. And that's why the show, we're trying to always tell you how to take back your health and how are simple things, again, doesn't have to always be expensive, but how can you be empowered educationally through understanding, reading labels, looking at food ingredients, how to shop better to make a safer outcome for everybody.
And remember that these ingredients are hormone disruptors.
Right. So when we see, now we're starting seeing, hormone receptive type cancers. We're seeing also resistant cancers, and even people are like, well, where did I get this from? How do I get this problem? It's not running.
Yeah.
It's one of these, we first talked about like plastics, right? We talked about chemicals in food products, but now we have to think of the chemicals that are just chemicals itself. Like, what is a red lipstick? Go take a look today if you're having any kind of lipstick product, and just type it in EWG and see. And just first of all, look at the amount of ingredients, because if I were to put that amount of ingredients and I took it out of the fancy packaging and I put it in a can of paint, or some kind of just, here's an industrial tub of this, you'd probably say, I would never put this on my body. But, you wrap it up, you put it in a nice store. And, and I have to say, I'm a sucker as to any beautiful display as well. You walk down the malls, we're just in the airport, and it's like, wow, they even have this in the airports now, these beautiful makeup displays, and the lighting and the packaging is so perfect. But what are we selling you? It's just cheap product, right? So
Well, and also when you pick these things up, they usually don't have the ingredients on them. You've got to go online or something to have a look to see what is actually in the ingredients. All they basically have is a fancy label. If you pick up lipstick, I promise you, they're not going to tell you what's in it.
Yeah, so less than $1 a pound of product usually is what it's doing, and then another $1 for the packaging, $1.50 for the package, so $2.50 total max, all in. And now they're giving smaller and smaller packages, right? So it's like some people think, oh, I got a large lipstick or something, and it's like really small in this package, or they give you less, thinking it's going to be higher quality. It's all about profitabilities at the expense of who? Predominantly women and men. But women get targeted more, and also now men, as we talked about, with more and more body care products, just because women can only put in so much a day. So let's have their spouses or their boyfriends or the other side of the population start using, these products. And we've invented categories now, right? So a before and an after, and a morning and an afternoon, and an underarm, and a this, and a body spray, and a body wash, and a gel, and hair care products. We even talked about today, like hair care products and mousses and hairsprays. All that stuff is coming back. With clever marketing, and how disruptive that is to hormones and what all cause inflammation.
All right. Well, I think we should call it a day.
All right, everybody. We hope you enjoyed this recorded video part of the show. Again, if you have anybody that you know who would be interested in coming in our show as a guest, that you think they have a great story, or you have a connection to somebody who has a big reach on Facebook or Instagram, please have them write to us at radio@sangevany.net. Also, you can look at our website, sangevany.net, sign up for our newsletters. Please share this link and share our newsletters. And also you can go to inflammationnation.com, get a copy of the book. It's on Kindle, and it'll be on Audible this week. For those people who like to listen to these podcasts and listen or watch it, you can listen to it read by someone who's got a great voice, not me, someone else. I guarantee you it'll be a must listen for those people who haven't had time to read the book, but they love and enjoy the show. A lot of great information in there. So until next time, Marina, you have anything else to say?
No, thank you very much for listening and participating.
Thanks for all your support, and we'll see you next week. Take care.